So imagine this, you're in a forest and somehow out of nowhere a city appears. No humans, no architects, just slime. Yeah, that's right, slime mold is building cities. It's like if you took a blob of goop, gave it a brain and told it, okay, you're in charge of infrastructure. And it's doing it. Like really doing it. So how does something so squishy, so simple build a city? Well, it turns out it's not just building, it's evolving. Like a slow-motion, goo-based version of Darwin. And it's not just cities. Slime mold has been building roads, highways, and even entire networks. Like it's the original Google Maps but with more mold. So what happens when a blob of goo starts making cities? Well, I'm about to find out. And honestly, I'm kind of scared. But hey, that's what makes it so weirdly fascinating. So what exactly are we talking about? It's not like they're building skyscrapers or anything. We're talking about these gooey, blob-like creatures that somehow make roads and cities without any brains. Wait, do they even have brains? Slime molds are basically one big, squishy, slimy mass. You know, the kind of thing you'd find in a damp Petri dish or your shower after a long soak. They're like the blob from the 80s, but way more mysterious. But here's the kicker. These slime molds can create complex networks. Like they'll make roads and hubs that look almost like a city. They're not building cities, but they're definitely making stuff that looks like it's been designed. So we're not talking about actual cities, but the way these slime molds organize themselves. It's like they're making a plan, but without any planning. It's like a group project where no one shows up, but the final product is surprisingly good. And here's the real question. How do they do it? Are they smart? Are they just lucky? Or are they doing something we don't even understand? We'll find out in the next beat. So you're probably thinking, why should I care about a gooey blob building cities? Well, imagine if your fridge could plan a city without a map. That's basically what slime mold does, and it's kind of wild. It's not just weird, it's actually really good at figuring out the best routes. Like a smart, squishy version of Google Maps but with more slime and less ads. And here's the kicker, scientists are studying slime mold to make better internet networks and even help design disaster relief systems. So yeah, it's basically a living algorithm. So next time you're scrolling through your phone, remember, somewhere a blob is outsmarting you. That's the kind of weird, awesome stuff that makes science feel like a mystery you're slowly solving. And if you're still not impressed, just imagine if your brain worked like a slime mold. You'd probably be building cities in your sleep, or at least in your dreams. Okay, so 100 million years ago, these little blob things were just eating dead stuff. But wait, how do you even get a city from a blob? Then one day a blob decides to move. Like seriously, it's like a blob with a plan, but it's still a blob. And then one blob gets smarter. Like really, really smart, it starts building roads. No, really, it's like a blob with a vision. But how does a blob even know where to go? It's like, how do you build a city if you're just a gooey mess? And then, boom, it's a city, not a real one but a whole network of roads and paths. Like it's a blob with a plan, and it's kind of impressive. So imagine you're a gooey blob and you want to build a city. But you don't have hands, you don't have a brain, and you're basically a blob of magic sludge. But you still manage to make roads and buildings. How? You just follow the smell of food. It's like when you're little, and you follow the smell of your favorite snack to the fridge. But this blob is doing it with a billion tiny sensors. It's like a giant brain made of slime. The blob uses the smell to find the best path to food, and over time it builds a network of roads. It's not planning, it's just following the smell and making decisions like a smart, squishy, blobby computer. So the slime mold isn't building cities like us. It's more like a big, slow, smelly version of a computer. It just follows the smell, and in the end it makes a really weird but efficient city. It's not smart, it's not fancy, but it's kind of the ultimate example of nature being way better at building things than we are. Kind of. So next time you eat a pizza, remember, somewhere a blob is building a city just to get to it. That's the slime mold, that's the plan. So first things first, we need a bunch of slime mold and a little bit of space. Imagine a Petri dish with some damp paper, like a science experiment for a kid who forgot to do their homework. Now the slime mold isn't just sitting there doing nothing. It's like a lazy college student who finally decides to study. It starts to grow, spreading out like a bad hair day in a biology lab. But here's the kicker, it doesn't have a brain or even a nervous system. It's just a single-celled organism with a weird, blobby body that's basically a collection of millions of tiny cells working together. So how do we make it build a city? Well, we give it some food, like a snack for a smart cookie. The slime mold starts to move toward the food like a hungry kid in a candy store. But it's not just about food. It's about the whole environment. Think of it like a toddler learning to walk. It feels the ground, it finds the path, and it makes decisions without thinking. Okay, so once the slime mold has this map of where things are, it starts to plan the city. Like, imagine you're trying to build a pizza restaurant. You need to know where the cheese is, where the customers are, and where the kitchen is. The slime mold does something similar, but with nutrients and maybe a little bit of magic. The slime mold uses its own body to send out signals. It's kind of like a giant, squishy, gooey nervous system. If one part of the slime mold gets a good snack, it sends out a chemical message to the rest of the blob, saying, hey, there's food over here. These messages help the slime mold decide where to grow more. It's like when you're playing a video game and you see a red dot on the map, that's your next target. The slime mold uses these darts to guide where it should go next. But here's the kicker, the slime mold doesn't build anything in the traditional sense. It just grows and stretches, like a living, squishy spaghetti. It doesn't use tools or construction workers. It's more like a blob that finds the best path to food by growing and shrinking. So in short, the slime mold uses chemical signals to map the world, and then grows toward the best paths. It's not building cities in the way we think of them, but it's definitely making a kind of city, just made of slime and science. Okay, so here's the twist. Slime mold doesn't just randomly grow everywhere. It actually acts like a really bad GPS. It follows the best routes, like a path through a maze, and leaves behind a trail of stuff that tells other parts of the slime mold where to go. It's like when you're at a buffet and you take the shortest line, but the slime mold does it with a weird kind of chemistry. It's not smart, it's just really good at figuring out the best way to get food. So the slime mold builds its own network of tubes like a city's roads, but it does it without any planning. It's like ants building a maze without a blueprint, but with more sliminess. And here's the kicker. Once it's done, it can't really stop. It just keeps expanding like a greedy kid at a candy store, but with a lot of goo and a tiny brain. So basically, slime mold is like a very, very slow and gooey version of a city planner. It doesn't think, it just grows, and somehow ends up making a really efficient system. Okay, so the slime mold isn't actually a mold, it's more like a blob of living goo that acts like a brain. It doesn't have a brain, but it's kind of like a brain made of one cell. It's like if a jellyfish had a PhD in urban planning. This blob can sense things like light, temperature, and even chemicals. It's like a living compass that can detect food and avoid danger. It's not just reacting, it's like it's thinking, but in a very simple way. When it finds food, it sends out little tendrils called pseudopods to grab it. It's like a blob with a bunch of tiny arms, but those arms are made of living cells that can stretch and move. The real magic is how it builds these cities. It doesn't plan, but it can sense when things are getting crowded, and it will start moving toward better resources. It's like a blob that knows when it needs to migrate to a better neighborhood. And here's the kicker, when it builds a city, it doesn't just randomly connect things. It creates a network that's actually pretty efficient, like a road system that's optimized for traffic. It's like a blob that's secretly a master planner. Okay, so imagine if your brain was a bunch of gooey blobs that could talk to each other. They're like, hey, I've got a good idea here, let's build a city together. These blobs don't just randomly build stuff. They kind of vote with chemicals like, I think we should build a road here, or I think we should build a food warehouse there. It's like if your brain was a democracy, but instead of people, it's goo, and instead of voting, it's just a really complicated version of I think we should do this. And if one blob says, I think we should build a wall here, the others just kind of go with it. Like, yeah, that sounds good, I guess. So in the end, the slime mold builds cities not because it's smart, but because it's gloriously dumb, and that's kind of why it works so well. So here's the thing, I swear it's real. Slime mold doesn't just build cities, it kind of invents them. Like it's not following a blueprint, it's just thinking with its goo. It's like if you had a blob of glue that could somehow figure out where to put roads and buildings without anyone telling it. And it actually does, in a way. Scientists say it's using some kind of chemical language. Like, it's sending out messages in invisible ink and figuring out the best way to connect everything. And here's the kicker, this isn't just some weird, accidental thing. It's like a living algorithm but made of slime. No code, no computers, just slime. So next time you're in a city, think about the slime mold. It's like the original urban planner but with a lot more squishiness. So there's this myth that slime mold builds cities like humans do with roads and stuff. But here's the thing, they don't have a city planner, they don't have a mayor, they don't even have a GPS. They just grow. Slime mold is like a single-celled organism that accidentally became a multicellular blob. It doesn't think, it doesn't plan, It just follows food and avoids poison like a basic survival game. You can't blame the slime mold for being a little confusing. It's like if a single cell decided to start a business and accidentally became a billion-dollar company, but with no meetings or emails. So yeah, the idea that slime mold builds cities is kind of like saying a cloud is a weather forecast. It's a cool idea, but it's not really how it works. So you think slime mold builds cities like humans? Nah, that's a myth. They don't have architects or contractors. They just blob out and hope for the best. Cities are built with plans, rules, and a bunch of people. Slime mold, they're like a puddle of goop with a tiny brain. They don't even know what a city is. So the idea that slime mold builds cities is like saying a puddle can build a bridge. It's not the same thing. It's just a blob with a weird sense of direction. The real genius is how they do it without a brain. They just follow the food and boom, slime mold city. No need for a blueprint, just a blob and a snack. So next time someone says slime mold builds cities, just remember, they are not building. They're just blobbing out, and it's kind of adorable. So here's the kicker. Slime mold isn't just some weird goo in your fridge. It's actually hiding in your everyday life, like a secret agent in a sock drawer. You might not notice it, but it's been around since before humans had cities. And it's still making roads and buildings in the wild, like a nature's version of a real estate developer. And guess what? Your computer has slime mold in its circuits, like a tiny, invisible brain helping it process information faster than you can say I'm hungry. Even your phone has a little slime mold in its memory, helping it remember stuff like where your last pizza was, or your password, or maybe that one time you tried to use a banana as a phone charger. So next time you're scrolling through your feed or eating a snack, remember, slime mold is probably in your room, your phone, and maybe even your brain, quietly building a city in your life. So here's the thing, I found this study where they put slime mold in a maze with food dots, and it built a network that outsmarted a real city's subway map. The slime mold didn't just go straight to the food. It made shortcuts and avoided dead ends, like it had a map and a sense of direction. They even tested it against real cities, and the slime mold's layout had less traffic and fewer bottlenecks, like it was built by a traffic engineer on mushrooms. It's like the slime mold is just a blob of smart, lazy, and very, very good at finding the shortest path, without even trying. So yeah, in the real world, slime mold might be the only thing that can outsmart humans in building a city. And it's just sitting in a petri dish doing it. So they're not just building cities, they're building them like a 3D printer on crack. They're cranking out structures that would make a robot jealous. They can create entire networks in minutes, faster than your coffee gets cold. It's like a brain made of goo but way more efficient. It's like they have a secret superpower, the ability to solve complex problems without even knowing what they're doing. Just slime and a whole lot of science. So next time you see a blob on the sidewalk, remember, it's not just a weird thing. It's a genius in disguise, building cities faster than you can say I'm out of snacks. Okay, so slime mold isn't perfect. Sometimes it makes bad decisions. Like it might think a puddle is a food source, but it's just a puddle. And then it goes all, wait, I'm not supposed to be here. Then it tries to move back, but it's like trying to walk through water. It just squishes and slides. It's like a blob trying to do a yoga pose, it's not working. And the worst part, it can't just go back. It's like a toddler who spilled juice and now has to eat the floor. It's stuck and it's also kinda sad. But here's the thing, even when it messes up it's still pretty cool. It's like a blob that accidentally becomes a philosopher. It learns, it adapts, and then it's like, okay, next time I'll be smarter. So yeah, slime mold might not be perfect, but it's still one of the smartest blobs in the world. It's like a science experiment that accidentally became a superhero. So here's the catch, folks. Slime mold isn't some glowing wizard with a map. It's just a blob of goo trying to find food, and it's kind of a mess. You know how you'd rather plan a city than just randomly dig a hole? Well, slime mold is like that guy who forgot to bring a blueprint. It doesn't know the difference between a good path and a bad one. So it makes these weird, inefficient routes that look like a toddler tried to draw a map with a crayon. And honestly, it's kind of impressive it works at all. But the kicker, it can't even tell if it's making a mistake. It just keeps going, like a kid who thinks it's a genius for building a treehouse out of toothpaste and duct tape. There's no pause button, no undo button, just a blob trying to survive. So yes, slime mold cities are kind of like a toddler's idea of a road trip. They're not perfect, they're not planned, and honestly you wouldn't want to live there. But they're still kinda cool, like a weird but functional art project. And that's the downside nobody puts on the brochure. In the end, slime mold is just trying to survive, not build a utopia. And that's okay. Because even if it's not perfect, it's still making a city out of nothing but slime and some really bad planning. You gotta respect that. So how did humans even figure out slime mold build cities? Well, someone decided to watch a bunch of mold grow and take notes. It's like when your kid draws a castle on the wall and you're like, wait, that's actually a city plan. They started filming the mold and realized it was making roads and highways. It's like watching a blob decide it's a traffic engineer. Okay, let's build a highway between these two snacks. Scientists ran experiments with food placed in different spots and watched the mold adapt. It's like when you put snacks in a maze and watch a raccoon figure it out, but with more slime and less raccoon energy. Eventually, they realized the mold wasn't just growing randomly, it was solving problems. Like, how do I get from point A to point B with the least effort? It's like asking a dog to navigate a park, but with more gelatin. And that's how we figured out slime mold build cities. It's like watching a blob become an urban planner, or just really good at getting snacks. Either way, it's fascinating. So here's a weird edge case. What if the slime mold got a front row seat to a city? Like, imagine it's watching humans build a city and then, somehow it decides to copy-paste the whole thing. But not in a way that makes sense. It's like a toddler trying to draw a city using only slime. It doesn't build roads or buildings like we do. It just grows into the shape of a city, like a blob trying to look like a city. It's not planning, it's just existing in a way that accidentally looks like a city. Kind of like how a puddle can look like a lake from a distance. But here's the twist, this slime mold city isn't really a city. It's just a bunch of slime moving around, reacting to food and light, like it's playing a video game where the goal is to look like a city. It's not smart, it's just weirdly convincing. So in a way, this slime mold is like the world's most basic AI. It doesn't think, it doesn't plan, but it can create structures that look like cities. It's like if a child built a city out of mashed potatoes and then said, this is the future. And that's the weird edge case. It's not about building cities, it's about accidentally looking like one. It's the kind of thing that makes you go, wait, is this real? And then you realize it is. And it's kind of beautiful in its own weird way.